Ethno as a project which brings together people from different parts of the world to share their music with each other in one place can offer much insight into understandings of and approaches to the issues of inclusion, identity and cultural diversity.
We thought about how do we ground an ethno in this bicultural kind of context that we live in New Zealand. And especially when we're talking about bringing songs of other people's cultural context to this land. There's a lot of history in folk music and there's a lot of stories in folk music. And it's about honouring tangata whenua, the people of this land, and saying, okay, we're going to bring this project, but we're also going to bring a whole bunch of energy and stories from other cultures onto this whenua, onto this land. So how do we do that safely? How do we do that benefits people of this land? How do we then use that as a grounding to open up this conversation between and amongst all of the cultures in Aotearoa?
When we play, when we use, when we teach, when we create that space for that particular culture to share their songs, it's important for them to know that their songs is going in the right place. It's given in the right context.
Well, you've already taken our language, you've taken our land. Why do you want our music? And I think you always have to ask that question when you're in these contexts. Why do you want to learn this? And how do you want to learn it? And what are you going to do with it? Otherwise, you've got a dominant knowledge system and a dominant community at play who may not realize that the voices that are quieter or less silenced historically may not speak up and speak for themselves. So this is a very interesting conversation, I think.
All these young musicians come together and have to negotiate these questions of national identity, ancestral identity, political identity. I think that space of not knowing and that space of struggling with authenticity is actually a very, very valuable contribution from ethno.
I think the whole question of national identity might be a red herring in relation to music making. The kinds of identities that seem to be being performed at ethnos were actually ways of performing none of the identities that people had brought with them, but actually ways of performing identities that were above all of those. So in that sense of ethno creating a space where people can begin to imagine what it means to be a global citizen, not necessarily a cosmopolitan and somebody with lots of privilege that's able to just use the earth as their playing ground, but as somebody who's connected with the earth, with the land through other people's connection, but that is grounded in a biographical identity about who you are and where you come from.